Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Stina. Thank you for being here. So today I'm going to be talking about a game that I've really gotten into recently. It's called Genshin Impact. As far as I know, it's only been out for about 4 months, and I originally discovered it on my mobile device as I was looking for something to play. I'm trying to get off social media more and trying to get more into something else, and so I thought that a phone game would be fun, but I'm really picky on the games that I play. So I came across Genshin Impact. I actually downloaded it a few months ago, and then I felt that it was a little bit too confusing, so I just stopped playing it. And then recently I started playing it again because I saw some people on Reddit recommended that you just push through it. So I am pushing through it, and I really wanted to share some things that might make a little bit more sense to people that are just starting the game and are kind of confused. Now, I've looked on YouTube, I've looked on Reddit, I've looked everywhere, and the way that people just explain things are a little bit too complicated for me. I still don't really understand being new to it. So I just kind of wanted to clarify certain things and just talk about the things that are important for beginners and something that just might make a little bit more sense and be less complicated. If anything I say is too complicated at this time, totally cool. Just play on your own terms. At the base, this game is pretty much just an open world concept with quests that you can play to better your character, but it really just is open world, which means that you can do whatever you want, and everything is essentially optional if you don't want to continue on these quests. So just a few disclaimers. Everything that I'm going to be talking about might not be absolutely 100% perfect, but it is what I have noticed and my easiest way of explaining it to somebody that is new. I am not a super high level. I'm like an adventure level 18, which I'll explain what those are in a second. So I'm not crazy experienced, but I'm experienced enough to understand concepts that might help somebody who is completely new or just trying to figure certain things out. Also, this is for my people that play Wizards 101 or did play Wizard 101. I loved Wizard 101 when I was younger. I was like a level 86 Storm Wizard. This is very similar in concept. I think it's a little bit more friendly because you can play it on mobile. And I love the ideas behind it. They resemble Wizard 101 so much and bring back so many nostalgic memories for me. I guess I'll just go into that a little bit more after explaining certain concepts, and then kind of compare the two to each other. So let's start with the basics of basic. This is a huge map. The creators of the game are apparently expanding it so it's not even complete, which is totally okay. I watched a video on somebody talking about how it's not too late for you to join the game, and I do want to say it isn't too late for you to join the game. Feel free to join the game. It's a lot of fun and it's very welcoming. So there's a big circle in the corner. It shows you where you are on the map. For mobile play, you can just tap it, you can open it up and it expands. If you're just starting out, there's going to be a lot of dark areas on the map. Keep in mind that you don't have to be a certain level to reach these areas. Now, certain areas that are further away might have harder to beat characters or harder to beat enemies, but it's not too difficult. It's really simplistic to play, and you can venture to those areas. If you're going to be heading really far from the main area that you start, which is called Mondstadt, it's a small kingdom essentially. If you're going to be heading pretty far away, I would recommend finding waypoints. So waypoints are teleport devices. There are certain different types of waypoints. So there's a statue waypoint, which there are 7 statues right now in the game. If you go to the statue on the map, it's an orb-like, and then regular waypoints are going to be a triangle-like. The orb-like ones are these statues, and the statues, if you go to them, they will help refill your health. You can also worship them. I don't really like this concept, but I guess it's just part of the game I have to get used to. If you worship them, they give you certain benefits, and you can receive certain items, etc. And you can teleport at any time. You don't have to be at a waypoint to get to a waypoint. So that's really cool. If you're in the middle of a battle and you know that you're going to lose, you can just pull up the map and just teleport to the nearest statue and get all your health back. I didn't know this was a thing when I started, so I was struggling to find resources to cook, which cooking is an option in the game. For reference, I didn't know this until recently. You can, while running, if you see a flock of birds, or if you're near like some boar, or if you're near like squirrels, you can take out your sword or whatever mechanism you use. I prefer sword because it's just quick, and you can chop around you. And if you hit the animal and you're close enough, you can actually click it and pick it up as resources to cook with. So I didn't know this, and it was really hard for me finding resources, and I didn't realize that statues provided health. So if you need health or if you need to revive a character, don't worry on wasting any of your resources, like collecting potatoes and apples and sunsettas. You can just go to a waypoint and you can refill all of your health. Now, with the little triangle ones, those ones won't refill your health, but they are there for your convenience. I did not realize this. When you unlock an area, you have to visit that actual waypoint to unlock the waypoint. So you can't travel there if you haven't been there already. So you're going to have to do the hard work of running or walking there, essentially jogging, whatever, and you're going to have to unlock it. But as soon as you do unlock plenty of areas, it's really easy just to jump around the map, get to certain quests in certain areas. So I highly recommend, if you're near a waypoint, just put in the little extra effort and just go to the waypoint before you go to a quest and might die or something like that, and just get the waypoint so you can travel back there really easily. There are two different types of ranks in this game. There's an adventure rank and a character rank. An adventure rank is pretty much just your overall rank. This is going to be harder to fill, and you are going to need XP, or like experience from quests to unlock more to do. So you'll start certain quests, but you can't continue them until you reach a certain level, just I think because of the difficulty of it. Whereas a character rank is more XP or experience for a character to make them stronger. Once you hit a certain level for each character, for example, once you hit your main character or Amber or Kaya at level 20, you're going to need certain resources to continue to upgrade them. So it's called an ascension, and every 20 levels after you ascend them, you can continue upgrading your character to make them stronger, give them better healing abilities, etc. So they are different, but they have different purposes as well. Now, in your adventure handbook, this is going to give you rewards that are different from doing quests. They're different from doing quests in the sense that it gives you rewards for doing smaller tasks, like, for example, opening a certain amount of chests in a certain area, or picking up certain resources in a certain area. So always open your adventure handbook every once in a while. If you're looking more for that free world, open concept, just kind of having fun, you can try to find chests. You can try to follow your adventure handbook to continue and complete those tasks without having to really follow a main quest. And then just open it every once in a while just to receive all the benefits and the rewards for those tiny quests. But you'll just naturally do them over time. I don't make it a point to go out of my way to do them unless I just kind of want to experience that open world. So they are optional and they will give you certain rewards. If you're new, I would highly recommend just following all red exclamation points. If you click the Paymon icon in the top left corner on the mobile, you can open up your chart and you can see all that Paymon has for you. And there might be red exclamation points, and it just shows you available things that you can receive rewards for. And I just kind of explore using that to gain more knowledge about the platform and how it really does work. I'm not going to go too in depth on that, but I would just always recommend following them to just kind of explore a little bit more about what different parts of the Paymon chart does. I don't know if it's called a Paymon chart, I just call it that, but Paymon essentially, or Paimon. She goes by Paimon, but I call her Paymon. So in terms of your inventory, as you're opening chests, as you're following quests and defeating people, you're going to see you have an inventory, and you're going to have feathers, and you're going to have like teapots and things like that. And it's really confusing at first. I still don't understand the entire complexity of it, but for the basics, I will tell you this. There are individual stars on each one. Keep what has the most stars. Those are going to provide the most benefits for you and your character. And as you go, collect as much as you can in terms of sunsettas, apples, iron chunks. They will provide resources for smaller quests later on that you can use or for crafting as you get to a higher level. I'm still learning about crafting. I don't know the entire extent, but the more resources, the better, essentially. Items in the inventory are confusing. Don't stress the specifics in the beginning. Artifacts are certain items that can help progress your character and progress the specifics of the damage or the health that they receive, etc. Um, they should be used in 2 or 4 of a certain type. So, for example, if you have the traveling doctor item, if you have multiples in different categories of the traveling doctor, you can see that if you have applied 2 traveling doctor items to your character, you will receive certain health benefits. Or if you want even more health benefits and you like the items, you can see that you can add 4 traveling doctor items and it adds even more benefit to your character depending on that specified slot. Now you can click them and there's going to become a chart that has the ability, says 1 star and under, 2 star and under, 3 star and under, and 4 star and under. And you can click auto add. I will tell you, I had no idea what that meant in the beginning, but the auto add adds other artifacts that you're not going to use to pretty much power up the artifacts that you are using on the applicable character. So I get rid of any like 1 star or 2 star and under, pretty much any artifacts that I'm not using on my characters to help to enhance that specific item to overall enhance the abilities of that artifact for my character. Like I said, the individual ones are confusing. You can look at the specifics, but you might not know what that means. In the beginning, I say just stick to whatever is 3 star and whatever you feel is most beneficial. If your priority is health, stick to health items that will provide those bonuses in 2 or 4 increments. One thing that I never really noticed is you can also use enhancement ores, which are these tiny crystals to help better your item or your weapon, specifically to level up your weapon to provide more damage, which helps to defeat higher level bosses or whatever it might be. Going back to the food item, I just want to note that certain foods give health and certain foods revive. So really, if it's possible, use statues as much as you can to revive and give health. There's only so much food your character can eat in one sitting because they get too full. So stick to statues if you can. However, if you're in a dungeon, which I'll explain what that is in a second, you definitely need to use food to help revive your character or help give them more energy if you feel it's necessary. Dungeons, for example, are more like boss layers that you can't just stop whenever. You kind of have to do it all in one sitting. And there will be challenges, there will be rewards throughout. And then at the end, there is a final boss that's going to be more difficult than normal to defeat, but it is usually part of a quest. And then some of them actually become teleport waypoints at the end once you defeat it. There is also something called elemental sight at the top left. I don't really use it much. I'm still trying to kind of learn what it is, but essentially, whatever you're fighting or whatever you're up against, it'll show you what that element is. So you can use a corresponding element to defeat it, and you can use elemental sight to see what it is referring to in terms of investigating certain situations and part of certain quests. But honestly, I don't really use it that much. There is also a tutorial button at the top. It really helps give you an idea of how certain elements react with other elements, what happens if you're going up against a fire character or a pyro character with a water character or something like that, and how you can interact with certain elements and the elements that you currently have. I believe there are a total of 7 elements, often during combat, to create elemental combinations that really help create the highest amount of damage. You can't really do much with just using one character. You really need to start to level up all the characters to better them. And this tutorial really helps to understand. I don't always quite understand, But as you go through experimenting and going against certain battles, you can notice how certain combinations can really help to help you defeat bosses faster. We're almost to the end here. Constellations are pretty much unlockable additions to individual characters. I only have one constellation. It's for the main character, but they're pretty much just unlockable additions. If you click on the individual characters, you can see their statistics, which can be modified using artifacts or weapons. You can see the storylines and the specifics behind each character that you have, and learn more about them. And for my friends that have played Wizard 101 or loved Wizard 101 as a kid or even as an adult, this is very similar in terms of the teleporting. When you teleport to something, you get more health, etc. Enemies, you're able to divert them by just staying away from them so they don't see you, or walking around their camps or traveling. You don't have to fight every person that you don't want to fight. Um, the types of attacks, there are different types of attacks that you can use. Items like harvesting, like going around to certain parts of the map to find certain flowers, or to defeat certain enemies for certain goods to bring back to these smaller non-main story characters and to complete side quests. But then there's also a main storyline quest too, and it tells you what the main storyline quests are and that you can continue to kind of defeat and conquer the world to essentially complete the storyline, which, as I mentioned, is not complete at this moment, but you can continue to do that if so. What's different is that it's an open world element, more so than Wizards 101. Wizards 101 had a similar kind of open world element, but this one has hidden puzzles that are optional, and you can kind of just enjoy the music, enjoy the characters, and enjoy this free world element base. As I've heard, it's very similar to Zelda Breath of Wild. I've never played it, but I've seen people play parts of it, and it's very similar with that open world concept. But in similarity, you can also, once you hit a certain level, join your friends during the game, do certain dungeons together, and just explore the world together. So that is pretty much it for right now. I really have been enjoying this game. I really think that it's something that everybody can enjoy. It's exciting, and if you're really struggling to understand or appreciate this game at this time, I am absolutely telling you it is okay. Just even if you don't understand, keep pushing through because there is a lot of reward. You will start to understand certain aspects more, but hopefully this gives you a little bit more perspective on what this game is about, how you can enjoy it more, and how you can make the best of certain elements, especially if you're a beginner and still relatively new to the game like me. I truly have been appreciating this game a lot. I just bought a Nintendo Switch, and so I really would love if this game could come out on Nintendo Switch so that I could enjoy it with a handheld console more. But it's pretty much available on every other platform. I play mobile. If you do have a phone, for reference, have had a flawless experience, but I'm also using an iPhone 12 Pro Max with 256 gigabytes, so I have a lot of space and I don't mind handling the storage or using the storage that it requires to use this game. Um, so that is something to take into account, but it is a lot of fun if you're willing to use up the space. So if this helped you, please give me a thumbs up or subscribe. It would mean the world to me. I'm almost at 500 subscribers. Like, what did I do to deserve all of your love? Truly, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. All right, goodbye.